more about the control of religion. Now, I'm starting to realize that, so when I speak of Asian people, when I see their culture, religion doesn't control their culture. So a lack of religion, right, for the Asian people means that, they strive for something else. And from what I see, is success. It's monetary success in the main cases. And there's a reason why, a lot of Asians I come across, right, whether if they're Chinese or Chinese British or Korean British, whatever, they're always loaded, bro. They're always loaded. I've never come across a poor Asian in my life in the UK, bro. And I'm being serious. So I feel like in the Black community, right, religion has taken a crazy amount of control to the point where they're not focusing on what matters in this world right now. We live in a capitalistic society, okay? And, we got to get the bag. Asians are about getting the bag, right? But when it comes to the Black community, there's no hunger, right? From what I see, it's all about religion first, blah blah blah. But guess what? Listen, baby, we're in the hood. We're in the hood. Now, I'm not against religion, Theo, right? Of course, religion is amazing. I'm not against it at all, right? I'm just saying, like, China's on top right now. Chinese, they don't believe in God, Theo. The Chinese don't believe in God, Theo. It's an atheist nation, and they're on top right now, Theo. Right? They don't, at this point in time, Theo, with inflation going around, with people suffering, the Chinese are chilling, bro. They're chilling. Koreans too, Japanese too, and they don't believe in God. Let's keep it real, Theo. I feel like religion, the Black community and Black culture, has allowed religion to take a really strong hold to the point where they're missing out on what can make you comfortable. Because we all need comfort, right? Asians got that, and they ain't religious. Something ain't mapping here for you, bro. Break it down for me.
Well, I mean, Koreans, I would say 50% of Koreans are Christian. Koreans are, largely speaking, I would say, one of the most Christian nations in the world, if not the most Christian. They are like hyper Christian, to be honest. So, I mean, I was very thankful to be with them in studying churches. Japan and China are largely atheist. That's true. Well, China suppressed all religion through the Communist Party, and so it just wasn't able to do anything. Even now, if you start a Christian church, it has to be registered to the Chinese government. So that's definitely an issue, right? You don't have real freedom of religion. I would say it's good that there's not an abuse of religion there. I think that's good. You're not having any like mega churches or anything like that, which I think is ridiculous. But at the same time, we're talking about the Black community, which is what part of our podcast is. There was a time in which religion was actually very valuable to us, and it had held the community together as we were going through hell. And now what we see is how many Black men have just totally left the church. It's a huge number. It's because the church has become a wing of feminism, basically, within the Black community. So Black men aren't going to stand up for that, and they're not going to go to church anymore. And now we have, but I think that from the Black community, we have a problem, definite problem, because if strong Black men aren't going to church, then if there's a bunch of women in church praying for a man, who's going to be sent? It's not going to happen. There's not going to be a man. So what do? To be honest, I don't care. I've had my piece with this, to be honest, especially with Kevin Samuels talking about this from time to time. Yeah, it's just an issue. What I say is, black men, you should avoid religion and avoid supporting religion financially, and instead you should be putting your money towards your career and your assets. That's where you're going to blossom.
Oh, but you're saying black men should avoid religion. Okay, hold on. You're saying black men should avoid religion, but do you mean that black men can still believe in God, but don't be giving your checks to, obviously, churches right in the West? Is that what you mean, Theo?
Yeah, I mean, if you could, too bad if you could look up my shelf up there. I've got plenty of religious texts up there. I have the Bible in Hebrew and in Greek up there on the shelf right now. I used to study it in Hebrew and in Greek. Yeah, I was ultimate nerd, but I wasn't giving my money to the church. That's the thing.
Why not?
I didn't see the point of it. There's just no reason to do it. I might give every once in a while, but not a tithe. I rarely, if ever, did that. I was like, if I'm going to get ahead, I need to put that money towards books, education. I need to eat. I need to eat protein, things like that. How many people do I see in churches? They pay a tithe, and then you look at their diets, and they're eating like, carbs. That's it. Carbs, processed carbs, sugar, like that. And I'm like, you need to eat steak. You need to eat chicken. What's wrong? You can't even feed yourself properly. It shouldn't be that way. This is an issue. So my view is put your money into yourself. Then if you want to come back later on and give some money to the church, sure. But do that when you're successful, when you're like, a millionaire or something like that, then give some money over.
Theo, the church asks for 10% of your tithe, right? So, and obviously Chinese, Japanese, not religious, okay? So let's have a scenario here, right? You got a black man who's earning 200K a year, okay, Theo? Then you have a Chinese and Japanese person who's earning 200K a year, Theo, okay? Black man, religious, goes to church. Church says you gotta pay 10% of your salary as a tithe. 10% of 200K is 20K.
No.
And hold on, Theo. 10K, 20K, right around that range, okay? And then you have the Japanese and Korean, right, who are not religious, and they ain't gonna pay that. So the black man pays 10 or 20K to church. But that money, Theo, can be put into a crypto, into a stock, into a business, into a high earning, high yield saving account, and the Korean or Chinese may do that. So, Theo, you see, you see where Asians can get ahead that quickly, with that disposable income, Theo. You get what I'm saying, Theo?
No.
Okay,
no.
Speak on that, bro. Speak on that. Come on.
Okay, so Japan and Korea, you can't easily invest in the stock, legally speaking. So it's not the easiest thing to do. So that in places where investment are limited in both countries. That's why both countries, the people usually put their money into real estate, because they can do that. And then also in Japan, they put it into currency futures market, because that's where they can actually make money. Now, let's expand this. Let's say that you do have $200,000 a year and you have 2 kids. That means your effective take home would be about 180,000. About 180,000, 170,000 with all the tax breaks. The thing here is, in Asia, they don't have, usually, like, let's say Tokyo or like Shanghai, Beijing, those families don't have cars, because it's burdensome to have a car. So there's no car, and there's no insurance, and there's no paying for gas. This is one thing that I always paid attention to with Americans, And it was not only the tithe that I thought that was not fruitful, but it was paying for this darn car and the car insurance and the tax. So if you combine this together, you're easily looking at 25% of your salary disappearing just because of interest payments and of paying for things that are not going to increase your value. And this is, again, car interest payments, your car note, what else? Insurance, and then your tithe. So that is actually really detrimental to a family. That actually makes it, like, for structurally speaking, financially speaking, that makes life very hard. If you're in Japan, that 170, let's say you're not religious, you don't have a car, it's normal. That 170,000 or the 180,000 goes directly in your pocket. So you have to pay for rent, or maybe you have to pay a mortgage, either one. But you can save up a lot of your money to buy something like a house or another apartment or something like that. So you have options. This is where, structurally speaking, Asians crush Western people. Absolutely financially. It's absolutely unbelievable, an unbelievable crush. And they are also, they don't have any stress from payments. Whereas in the West, there's always this payment structure. There's always a way of getting part of your salary over to pay for something. And it's really detrimental to the society. So I think Asians have it correct. And we need to learn these principles really within the Black culture, within Black Western culture. We go a long way if we actually did these points.
Awesome. So Theo, still on the point on religion, right? I feel like religion is stopping Black men, particularly Black men, from going full capitalist. So let me give you an example, right, Theo, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say there's a country on this earth, like Congo, okay? But it's not Congo, it's a different country, right? Somewhere in Asia, okay? That has the most lithium reserves in the world, okay? And then you're a rich businessman, okay? And you know that if you want to invest in lithium there, if you want to have a lithium mine extracting sort of company there, it's going to involve practices where there'll be human rights abuses, there'll be people working in the mines, inhaling chemicals, lack of safety procedures in that particular lithium mine. Because you're religious, you probably won't go ahead with it because you know that it's a human rights issue. Okay, hold on for you, all right? But let's say that there's a person that's non-religious, okay? And he's aware that if he creates a lithium mine in that country that has the most lithium mines in the world, there'll be many people in that country that will suffer human rights issues, lack of safety helmets, inhaling chemicals, being paid pretty badly, just all sorts of nonsense, right? Really bad things. The non-religious person will still go ahead with it, Theo, because it's going to make him a lot of money. And also, that's what's happening today, brother, in Congo. Congo has the most lithium reserves in the world, okay? And there are some very bad practices happening right now in Congo, unfortunately. And guess who controls the lithium industry in Congo, Theo, and who's also atheist? That's the Chinese. The Chinese control the Congo lithium industry in Congo, which is very sad. And the Chinese are making crazy amounts of money, okay? And people there in Congo are being mistreated while they dig up the lithium resources. So religion, and I'm not saying that I want Black men to be doing those kind of bad practices. I'm just giving that example there. But religion does stop Black men from going full-on capitalist, where to the point is, if you go full capitalist, right, there'll be negative effects on other people who will make it that capital. Let's keep it a stack for you, bruv. Let's keep it 100 for you, bruv. Break it down for you, brother. Let's keep it real.
This is, I'm kind of like, okay, I mean, there's always going to be some sort of gargantuan corporation that is going to be there in order to extract some sort of resource. I mean, that's happened since forever, right? And particularly in Africa, but also in the West, you have usually some government-backed huge corporation that is financing some sort of extraction methodology or process and taking the resources away without much benefit to the people who are there, right? I mean, let's look at colonialization. That was for how long that kind of stuff happened. So if the Chinese are doing it right now, I just look at them as just being another power next in line who are doing it.
But they ain't religious, feel. They don't believe in the Most High, feel. They don't have religion. So it's just
power. They're just another power coming through. The only reason, Genghis Khan didn't do it is because he didn't get there. So, that's it. If he could have gotten there, he would have done it too. So
what the Chinese are doing right now in Congo, right? Because they effectively bought Congo due to obviously corrupt practices by the previous Congo administration. They practically run and own the lithium industry in Congo, which is shocking because what do black people run and own in China? But that's a separate discussion, right? Mm-hmm. Phil, do you believe that a truly religious person will be doing what Chinese are doing in Congo right now? I don't believe so, Phil. So that
they would.
A real principled religious person who's well aware that if he goes ahead with what he's doing in Congo, it could mean negative. It can cause a negative impact on some people who work in those mines in Congo. A true principled religious person, he wouldn't go ahead with it, Phil. And that's why I feel religion stops black men from being full-on capitalists. It does.
No, I mean, the religious people were, doing the slave trade. How many of the religious people were gold miners? Look at South Africa. Highly religious people, gold miners. They, either use Africans in order to be miners, or they go out there and shoot Africans in order to get the land. But they go to church on Sunday. And then you have, of course, the Muslims up in the north. I mean, they're not innocent, and they have quite a history of enslavement. So it's just, the way I look at it is just additional powers. That's it. They're only acting based upon power. It's next one. I mean, if the space aliens came down right now, they'd probably go to Africa too, also Siberia for resources, and who knows what they believe. And they wouldn't care. They'd have power. They go take it. They do what they want.
A different example for you, right? So I find that people who are not religious, they are very ruthless in trying to acquire wealth, and to the point where they would actually F over someone close to them to get money, because they have no moral, not moral standing, but there's nothing behind their brain saying that, listen, if you do it, God will be angry with you. That's against your religion. To them, it's get the bag by any means necessary. Whereas a religious person, or more than likely, if he's truly religious, would not F over a friend, F over his colleague to get the bag, right? He has principles. I can't do that. I believe in the Most High. I believe in religion. I can't be doing that. Whereas a person who isn't religious will do that, Theo. Would you agree? Would you agree or disagree, Theo? Let's keep it real.
No. The people who are religious, I have to worry about them a lot. So yeah, I'm worried about the religious people just as much as I'm worried about the non-religious people. It's usually motivation and the ability to express power. When you actually have power, then you usually find out who you really are. And you discover yourself, basically. And that's what I've done even myself. I really understand who I am a lot more once I start having power. So, yeah, I think these guys, if they get power, they're going to go ahead and use it for the most part. It's rare to have a benevolent person. But I've met atheists who are totally benevolent. I've met religious people who are benevolent as well. I can't necessarily pin it on religion. I wish I could, but no, I can't.
Okay.